most people are streaming it. So looking at these freaking TV overnight numbers are to a degree irrelevant, but not completely irrelevant because it's not dead. People are still watching it overnight, despite the fact that they can watch it on streaming 19 hours before then. It's available on streaming before it's available live. Here's these chuckleheads looking at fucking live numbers like it's dead. It's pretty much a streaming series at this point that happens to air live. Now, if you already dislike these anti-woke grifters and want to know how to fight them, there is something easy you can do right now. I know it sounds self-serving, but liking this video, commenting, and subscribing to this channel do help take algorithm space away from these grifters. There's a new episode of Doctor Who comes out tomorrow, Friday. I'm pretty sure is when the new Doctor Who comes out. This season started out wonky. So I like the David Tennant specials, especially Wild Blue Yonder, which was just a cool like Doctor Who like sci-fi mystery thing. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And then we got the giggle was pretty cool with Neil Patrick Harris chewing scenery as the toy maker. And then we got a bi generation, which introduced us to the Ncuti Gatwa Doctor, who coexists now with David Tennant's 14th Doctor, which is very, very cool idea. I really I like that idea, and I like that they coexist now. So now we can have crossovers quite easily. But now, but overall, but now when Ncuti got started, they had the Goblin storyline for Ruby Sunday, and it was fine. It didn't thrill me. And then Space Babies as the season premiere really didn't thrill me. It wasn't the worst thing ever, but was weird. It actually had a monster made of boogers, and the Doctor couldn't let that monster die because it was one of a kind, just like him, and it was made of boogers. And I was just like, are we really doing this with a booger monster? Are we really doing this? But then the season just got better. It just got better. And I feel like Dot and Bubble was the first like really, really great episode. Although like 73 Yards was interesting, even though it wasn't fully explained, it was interesting. But then I feel like Dot and Bubble was just a great episode about people who frankly should die. True, no ginger doctors yet. But anyways, but then the last couple of episodes, we had the last episode was just kind of the cliffhanger leading up to the finale, where we get some more of the toy maker's children. We already got introduced to one of the toy maker's children, the Maestro. That's the character played by Jinx Monsoon. She's the character Chuds like to go after because she is a drag queen. But you know what? Jinx Monsoon, I thought was a cool villain. If for no other reason, I really enjoyed the fact that she chewed scenery like nobody's business as that villain. The story wasn't perfect, but Jinx Monsoon was definitely a highlight. But now we're getting introduced to another one of the children, Seketh, if I remember correctly. But before that, we got an episode where the Doctor met up with a time traveler who was after these, like the Doctor's looking for these shape-shifting monsters in this like old school Bridgerton type setting. And then he comes across another time traveler. I believe he's human from the future, but it's not 100% clear, who goes by Rogue. And the Doctor and Rogue have some very solid chemistry, frankly. And it gets to the point where eventually they do kiss, but then that's the end of their relationship because Rogue gets portaled off and he asks the Doctor to go find him. So let's see. Now it was like their chemistry was really good, and it was a really well done episode. And it was actually quite bittersweet how like the Doctor and him had this really great like relationship started. True, the boogeyman did have it was a decent design, kind of creepy design for the boogeyman. Boom was kind of cool because I was like a Stephen Moffat return episode because that's kind of what was the cool thing about Russell T Davies there because Russell T Davies was obviously doing most of this stuff, but like occasionally Stephen Moffat would come in and do his Stephen Moffat shit. I don't know how else to describe, but the Stephen Moffat shit. And yeah, that's what Boom was. It was a Stephen Moffat doing Stephen Moffat type stuff, and I really enjoyed it. A much darker episode. And then yeah, but anyway, so the episode before with Doctor and Rogue, it was really well done. Really, they had a good chemistry. It was a nice romance. It was ended very bittersweet. Obviously, it didn't end very romantic, and of course, the Chud angle on it is very thoughtful and nuanced, which is of course. Rest in peace, Doctor Who eats a new rock bottom, breaking new ground while murdering franchises. And of course, it's a picture of the Doctor and Rogue kissing, of Tom Baker looking like an old man distraught in the background for some reason. I don't know why they're bringing Tom Baker into this. Tom Baker's awesome. You shut your mouth, you bastards. And it's a downward spiral. So let's see what these thoughtful fellows think of this.
Nerdrotic.com.
The lowest ever ratings in the history of Doctor Who just got posted today. The last episode did a consolidated number of 3.1 million, which ties the low.
Doctor Who TV. Okay, we're going to double check these numbers because they've been reporting about how terrible the numbers on Doctor Who have been. And then I remember looking into it, and it's actually not terrible. It's actually doing fine. So, Doctor Who TV. Let's look up these. And I'd also like to add, just even if it gets low numbers, it's not a judgment on the quality of the show. This appears to be a fan site. So he's pulling the numbers from a fan site? It's weird. Okay, so out of curiosity, what did they think of this episode, Rogue? Oh, I just want to vote. Can I just vote? I don't even know. Okay, select the images most related to provide sample. I guess leaves. Kapchka. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 9. Oh my god, this site sucks. I hate this. I wanted to know what the score was, you jerks. Anyways, features. No, that's the thing I discovered. So Russell T Davies has admitted that initial ratings for Series 14 have not met the team's high expectations for Doctor Who. However, it says 28-day figures and the metrics from the younger viewers are faring much better. That's what I found. So these guys are taking like the weekend numbers. So like the numbers that will come out based on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 3 days of Doctor Who. They'll take those numbers and say those are essentially the found numbers. But when you look, the numbers like double or triple over 28 days. So like the view numbers are significantly higher than what these guys like to report. But I'm still trying to figure out where the fuck. Okay, let's see. Maybe we have to watch more of this. So on the panel, we got as pronoun guys, Heels versus Babyface. We got Gary Nerdrotic. We have Chuck Dixon, famed comic book writer who apparently talks Doctor Who. And then we got Graham Nolan, who I believe is a comic book artist. And who the hell is this guy? This guy doesn't belong on this panel. This is a right-wing panel. This guy's apolitical. I don't know what he's doing on this panel.
Lowest episode from Sylvester McCoy's run back in 1989.
Damn.
Battlefield. And of course, Sylvester McCoy just had overnights. Didn't have no 7 days or consolidated or anything like that.
Well, yeah. Sylvester McCoy's aired once. So if you wanted to see it, you had to watch it at that time. And if you didn't see it at that time, that's it. So Sylvester McCoy's overnight numbers were kind of it. Whereas with Shooty Gatwa, it's pretty much a streaming series now. So you have to take all the streaming over time. And lots of people will watch it later. Lots of people will wait for the whole season to come out and then watch it all at once. Yeah, what's Mauler doing here?
So in my eyes, anyway, all of this shit is Sylvester McCoy's beaten. But the way that they do the ratings, so if we have to try and play it by their rules, it still means
This is really weird. So here's the overnight, and then this is TV only, and then where, like, I would like I'm on this website. Where are you pulling this from? So what date? Okay, so this is June 11th. June 11th. There's no more news for me to go over. I mean, I can't even look at this up, but the fact is, it's overnight numbers on a streaming series. How many people jump like that? Like, I guess if it's a big event show, maybe you'll jump on and watch it the night of. Lots of people don't. Lots of people just wait and watch it over like a few days or something.
It's the lowest ever viewed episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like this is also TV only. So is it not even streaming numbers? Because here's the thing: if a series is going to be available streaming, whether or not people watch it live is going to be changed by that. Because if it's available streaming, who cares to watch it live? Just watch it whenever you want. These feel very fucking cherry picked, and I'm on this website, and I don't even know where they're pulling it from. This fucking website.
By the way, the latest episode's overnight's doing even worse than the week before. So theoretically, next week we could break the record 2 weeks in a row for the lowest ever Doctor Who. So I think the BBC are going to try everything in their power to fudge this number here. But what do you think, Gary? As a once upon a time maybe Doctor Who fan,
completely unsurprised. I am actually surprised that they've hung on this long, that it didn't go under 2 million for overnight. But I mean, humanity never ceases to surprise me, and the lowest common denominator just hanging on for. Yeah, I just disrespected the 2 million people who watch this show who aren't YouTubers and who aren't clowning it. I did. Because what the fuck are you watching? What are you waiting for? It's like this is going down exactly how we expected as. Mm-hmm. So it's post dead. And we are now in apathy phase. This happens to every single franchise or story that betrays its audience and betrays its core character. And when you betray the
okay, Gary, you better get this. How has this series betrayed its audience and betrayed its core character? Please explain.
Core character of a serialized story, you betray the audience, and then the audience leaves. There's always going to be hangers on who just like the words Doctor Who, like the logo. That's it. Or there's channels and it was a British institution, but what it is now is where Star Wars is headed very fast. If Marvel stays on this road, is headed very fast. Star Trek is already there. We're already seeing it with Star Trek. So we're in the post-apocalypse of all this. And
so Star Trek is, I mean, it sucks that Lower Decks is ending, but Strange New Worlds, we got a new season. That's a great series. I'm excited for the new season. So using his example, Star Trek is doing pretty good right now.
Here we are.
Love to kill our heroes.
And this is a problem. Like Gary is really skilled at this. Like he like we listen to him and we know clearly what he's saying and what he's implying, and he knows what he's implying, but he rarely just comes out and says it. Because when he talks about it's killing the core character, he means it's not a white guy or stuff like that. And we know what he's implying, but he always dances around to actually saying it. Because frankly, he's a fucking coward. He's a piece of shit coward. I don't know how else to say it. I'm gonna go ahead and do separate research and pull up Doctor Who numbers, just to counterbalance this. Oh my God, Bounty in the comics immediately. Okay, here's an article from Radio Times. As Ncuti Gatwa and Mel Gibson began their first full season on Doctor Who, the show received close to its lowest overnight viewership ratings ever. But as any fan knows, that's far from the full story. According to BBC's deal with Disney, it was previously announced that for the first time ever, new episodes will debut on the BBC iPlayer at midnight to coincide with their dropping around the world on Disney+. It was a controversial move to say the least, but hardly surprising in the streaming age. As viewing habits change for the better or worse, our favorite shows must change with them. So, for the first time, a huge portion of fans will have stayed up until the early hours to watch the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday encounter a baby farm run by babies before traveling back in time to the 1960s to meet Beatles and save humanity from the villainous maestro. It marks a new era for Doctor Who fandom, and is somewhat reminiscent of the Harry Potter generation would queue up outside the bookshops at midnight instead of clicking on TV 5 minutes before the broadcast in fear missing anything. Many of us are refreshing iPlayers clocks at midnight. One thing has also changed as a result of this overnight ratings. Now, linear ratings have become accurate measurements of success for a long time have hardly become an accurate measurement of success for a long time because fewer and fewer people watch live TV. You would think that's obvious, although has someone tried telling the various news outlets about viewing figures for cheap headlines to trash a new season? That's what the judge do. Of course, the 2.6 and the 2.4 million overnight figures for Space Babies and Devil's Cords will end up being a fraction of the total audience. Considering the episodes were released on iPlayer a full 19 hours previously, and we'll have a home on the iPlayer Hooniverse, hopefully forevermore. It was inevitable that few people would usually be watching when the show aired that evening on BBC One. There are plenty of other reasons for those ratings too. Some have said good weather meant people weren't inside watching Doctor Who live. Some have blamed the month of May for being TV's dead spot. There are hundreds of reasons for ratings ended up as they are. Some are more impactful than others, but that doesn't mean these ratings don't matter. For one thing, it's pretty incredible that they weren't the lowest ever. These two have been available for almost 19 hours already, and people so like essentially you can watch Doctor Who's streaming before you can see it on live TV. So the really big fans will be jumping on it streaming, not watching it live on TV. That will hurt the live TV numbers. It's pretty incredible that they weren't the lowest ever. These two episodes have been available for almost 19 hours already, and people are still tuning in live, proving that even in the streaming age, demand is still there for a TV event. The watch parties have defined Doctor Who's modern history and built communities that were still happening. And despite the barrage of spoilers on social media and in the news, millions of people still wanted to wait. Crucially, families that were sitting down together on Saturday night to watch Doctor Who. Slightly less sentimental, it's going to be incredibly important for the higher-ups at BBC and Disney Plus to see who's watching and how many are watching and how they're watching. The ratings for those who watch iPlayer won't be out for a few more days. They're unveiled 7 days after broadcast, but I have no doubt they'll be big, especially if the 10 million figure forgot was first episode's Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road, is anything to go by. But let's face it, ignoring the naysayers and trolls, Doctor Who is a hugely exciting point in history. Having turned 60, it got fresh new fuel. So essentially, yeah, he's making the point that, frankly, most people are streaming it. So looking at these freaking TV overnight numbers are, to a degree, irrelevant, but not completely irrelevant because it's not dead. People are still watching it overnight, despite the fact that they can watch it on streaming 19 hours before then. It's available on streaming before it's available live. Here's these chuckleheads looking at fucking live numbers like it's dead. It's pretty much a streaming series at this point that happens to air live. This is madness. It just used to be a TV, like a broadcast TV show, but it's really a streaming series now. And then this is making the point that the fact that this series is making these numbers at all is impressive because the big fans are just going to stream it hours before it's available live. So let's see if I can find the overall streaming numbers. Because as I recall, the streaming numbers, like the 28-day streaming numbers, are actually really, really good. Hold on. All right, so looking at this, the Christmas special, which got a 4.7 overnight, so that's pretty good overnight, but it ended up with over 10 million streaming between the week of Christmas and the 31st. So that's in the first 7 days. It got over 10 million. So yeah. So whatever these numbers are, it's going to be at least a little bit more than double, at least. All add together. Okay. So I found the ratings these guys are looking at, the chuckleheads are looking at. UK Doctor Who ratings accumulator. So this is exclusively people who are watching live in the UK. Exclusively. These are obvious. This is this exact same chart. Looks like that mine's a bit more updated. So yeah, overnight TV ratings only include those who watched it live and those who record it and watched it later that night. So literally only people who watched it live or TiVoed it and watched it. So like if you streamed it that night, that doesn't count. But if you TiVoed it and watched it, that counts. Consolidated ratings include those who recorded and watched it within a week. So this is people who watched it within a week. And then the file consolidated figure also takes into account viewers on tablets, PCs. So this is people who watched on other devices. The Live Plus counts people who watch it live, all repeats, iPlayer within X days of following broadcast. So Live Plus is on here. So literally, this is just it. Yeah. So it doesn't have the streaming number. It doesn't have the streaming numbers on this chart at all. So literally, these guys are saying it's dead. Just looking at the people who watched it live that night in the UK. And even in the UK, you can watch it 19 hours early. Whoa, where'd my chat go? I don't know what happened to my chat. The funds of streaming, guys. Okay, at least it auto-synced, so I don't have to redo it. But yeah, so these guys are so full of it. It's ridiculous how they just cherry-pick this shit.
They kill the franchises we love. James Bond, Star Wars, Star Trek, you name it. It's all gone to shit.
Yeah, and there was an article from a guy running the BBC.
Okay, that's like your opinion, man.
And he essentially said, hey, we know we're making non-economic decisions, but it's the right thing to do for progressivism with the public's.
Do you have a citation, bro? And plus, you're talking about one dude, like one random dude, because I guarantee you the higher ups only care about making money.
Money with the public money.
When you're making non-economic decisions because it's not your money to make it. You're getting it from the British public with the license fee. So it's easy to spend somebody.
I love how these guys just simp for rich people. I love that.
Else's money. We call them sugar daddies. Chuck, Graham, either of you Doctor Who fans or watch Doctor Who, or where have you sat on this, and where do you sit really on the co-option of these major franchises?
Well, I'm not what you call a Doctor Who fan, but I've certainly watched it. I mean, I watched when Tom Baker, was a phenomenon, and I watched up through the end of Matt Smith, and I lost interest. And my kids were watching it, and yeah, I like it. What I can't understand is there a more dedicated fandom than the Doctor Who fandom, and you would just throw that away?
Right.
Let's.
I would say, obviously, from the fact that they grift really hard on it more than anything else, it would have to be a Star Wars fandom. And Chuck Dixon here hasn't even been watching since Matt Smith, and he's going to go ahead and give his opinion. You haven't even seen it, bro. Why do I care?
Let's give them some credit. It took them over 50 years. So
it took them about.
Fun fact, from 1989 till 2005, I want to say, Doctor Who was canceled. So what? No.
Oh, well, it took them about since 2015. That's how easily and quickly you can kill anything that's so beloved.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Chuck. Fandom for Doctor Who is like one, Star Trek gets a lot of credit for first conventions, and it deserves it, but Doctor Who predates it by many years, and it had a connection of
4. It predates it by 4 years, I want to say. Yeah, that'd be right. It would be 1962. Yeah, 1962 for Doctor Who and 1966 for Star Trek.
Dudes were like getting their 16 millimeter, 8 millimeter, whatever cameras, pointing them at the TV. They weren't getting any sound, and then they were on like mailing lists, and you would send them to people in Australia. So that fandom was huge. It was niche, but it was huge and loyal, and stuck around for decades. Like Star Wars is the big mama IP. There'll never be an IP bigger than that. Singular IP. It's a cinematic IP, which is no longer a cinematic IP. But like throwing away Star Trek and particularly Doctor Who, which is, I mean, as you know, as part of your culture.
Yeah.
Part of a country's culture used to be.
That is correct, Dean. While Doctor Who was canceled, it wasn't woke during those canceled years. Except during the TV movie that came out during that time. That was a little woke then, but then it wasn't woke. Don't worry.
Well, it's insane, but they meant to do it, as you guys just mentioned. It's deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely deliberate. The first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, that was a political decision. That was an agenda decision. It wasn't a story-driven decision.
It wasn't a political decision. I'm pretty sure Chibnall came out and said he wanted to do a woman doctor. A political, like, was it a political decision when they decided in Star Trek to have the first black captain or the first woman captain? Because I guarantee you, like that was a choice to make. Because they had Kirk and Picard, and they decided, okay, let's do Sisko, a black captain. Let's do Janeway, a woman captain. Do we just grandfather that in? Because that's obviously something they had planned and decided to do. And frankly, it doesn't matter. Shit like that doesn't matter. As long as the writing's in, who cares about the color or the gender of the person taking on the role? Like, there are a couple of examples where that matters, but it's very rare. Very rare. Like Black Panther, it kind of matters. That's one of the few examples where it matters. I think with a lot of black characters, there's a lot of black history involved, and that's why it kind of matters. But like a lot of white characters, that shit doesn't matter. So who cares? And especially a character like Doctor Who can just regenerate into different bodies. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Shurigawa, Nurse What, Mauler TM, Nurse What. It's the same thing. So they're not making story decisions, and you could tell by why.
So like Ncuti Gatwa's performance has been definitely one of the highlights of the new season. He has a great energy for the Doctor. I think he works great. I think he's really awesome.
I caught up on these episodes, dude. Holy shit. Like the last one, like two dudes kissing, that's happened in Doctor Who. That's happened in Doctor Who. No.
Yes.
No. At the end, I'll save you, white people. No, we can't go with you because you're black. What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're talking about Dot and Bubble. Yeah. It wasn't so much that he was black, although racism definitely played a role. Those people were rich, stuck-up elites, Gary. It wasn't just that they were white and they were super white. They were elites. They were from these wealthy families, putting them in this fucking fancy fucking place. Like, how did you miss that? It was much more a classism thing than a racism thing, Gary. I think it's interesting you saw it through the guise of race, though. Like that main woman we followed was just a rich prick. She killed the white guy just to live. I guess spoilers for that episode. Because she didn't care. She just cared about herself. Jesus, Gary.
What the fuck?
Gary, we've warned you not to watch that much cringe in a row, by the way. Like, that's dangerous. I've seen some of these episodes weekly. I had to stop. My doctor actually, gave me a very strong word about it. I was starting to, deteriorate, so I thought, yeah, better not. But to hear that you did that, that's very irresponsible. So I'm disappointed.
But did you know?
Wait, what's Mauler doing here? Huh? I thought he was non-political. I get really confused when Mauler's here because it's like he's non-political. What's he doing here, guys? What the hell?
Gary and everyone, the Doctor Who's latest.
Did he say it was about racism? I thought it was about classism. I definitely got the impression it was about classism because they were these rich assholes, and they were rejecting Ruby as well. So, yeah, I know Russell T Davies wrote that, and that's his episode. But I guess I gotta disagree with his read on it. I mean, everybody can have their own read of art. So, but yeah, really, I think that's a weird read. I think it's wild. That's what I feel like he missed the boat on that. But like, it works brilliantly as an episode at all. But I mean, I guess a racism read is not entirely out there because typically, I mean, frankly, being black means in general, most likely you come from a lower economic status as well. So racism read isn't off, but it wasn't my primary read.
It's episode 73 yards. That was a couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Just broke a new record. It was the highest rated Doctor Who episode of that season.
Who put? Oh, it's Collider. Okay,
Collider. Yeah, Jessie
Collider.
Parker, who looks like she's.
Latest episode has the highest overnight viewership of the new season so far. Okay, so again, overnight viewership. Overnight. This is not the streaming numbers. These are the people who watch it live. And keep in mind, it's available for streaming 19 hours before it goes live.
5 from Collider. Doctor Who's latest episode, 73 hours, set an overnight viewership record with 2.62 million views.
Yeah, no, I guess like looking more I think about, more I can see a racism read of that episode, especially because like the Doctor is essentially being judged for being black. Pretty early on. It just, essentially I get the read that he's being judged as black and therefore lower class, not but yeah. See, I get to reevaluate the episode right here live on stream.
That was like the 4th lowest overnight of all time or something. But don't worry about that. That's a new record. That's the level of fucking gaslighting nonsense. Is it any wonder that mainstream media is dying? Can we
Gaslighting? You are the guys talking about fucking overnight live numbers on what is essentially a streaming show now. Who cares? And like we just read that one article, it says, yeah, these overnight numbers matter because somehow they're not fucking dead overnight numbers. They're decent overnight numbers on what is a streaming show now. That's impressive.
Can we turn this around? Can it be turned around?
It can't. What, mainstream media? Fucking let it die.
No, but I mean, can it be turned around that it's going to get replaced by actual objective articles?
It is by us. I don't know about.
Of course. Yeah, you guys are objective news sources. That's it. That's how come I could just debunk you on stream, because you guys are objective news sources. Great.
Articles. I mean, there's Jeremy's still out there doing his site, but content there is. Yeah, we're doing it now. Like we're doing their job. Hey, thank you, Access Media. Thank you. I appreciate it. You opened the door for a lot of YouTubers. We should all be grateful that you were so resolute on being retarded for so long that all I have is gratitude. Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, you go to a restaurant and they serve you a shit sandwich. Eventually, you're going to stop going to that restaurant, and that's what's happening with a lot of these franchises these days. You look at it in politics too. Look what just happened this last week in the EU with in France, in Argentina, Germany. There's a lot of changes happening because people are fed.
So is Gary the only one that actually watched it? I mean, come on.
Up. Real people, regular.
Yes, Gary. I will give you props to getting the comic book, although it looks like an old book.
Regular folks are just fed up. And I think the analogy applies.
Fed up with what? A cool story?
Also to entertainment.
If you served a shit sandwich, you should sue the restaurant.
I I complained once at a Chinese restaurant, and the guy said, "You order shit, you eat shit."
Oh,
But yeah, they got to change course because have you seen the debt these studios are in?
yes.
It's like there are governments in the world that don't have national debts this large. Seriously.
I'm gonna need a citation. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, no, there might be smaller governments, but like lots of how capitalism works is through series of debts, especially through these bigger businesses. The CEOs still make a fuck ton of profit, by the way.
Tens of billions of dollars at each studio.
They're still allowed to borrow. They're still allowed to borrow. They're still allowed to acquire.
Because they have activist investors who are
Yes, this is a critique of capitalism, guys. Capitalism.
keeping them afloat, especially.
They're acting like, all this woke stuff is destroying this stuff. No, this is a critique of capitalism, not fucking woke stuff.
Disney. But you see, every studio is making horror films because they need the money.
Yeah, and those are bulletproof.
Well, it's not even necessary that they need the money. Typically, horror movies are kind of easy money. They're usually made a bit cheaper, and then you can they're made cheaper, and you usually do decent in the box office.
Proof.
Yeah,
$20 million.
Return.
Yeah, make it for $20 million. It makes $120 million, $200 million. You're good all day long.
Somebody we all know recently called me and said the straight white male is back. They're asking the studios quietly.
Yeah, no, we're off the reservation. I'm trying to figure out when we're going to get to Doctor Who. Plus, keep in mind, only one of these 5 have even fucking bothered to watch it, or at least he says he has.
Saying let's get back to making money.
Was that John Milius who called you?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because it sounds like something he'd say.
God, man, that guy's a legend.
It could have been.
It could have been. Well,
Doesn't sound like Russell T. Davis.
Deadpool and Wolverine, White Boy Summer. It's going to be White Boy Summer saves the box office at least for one weekend, maybe 2
for a weekend.
Yeah. Well, it was White Boy Summer last year when Tom Cruise did it.
Yeah.
That was a couple years ago, buddy.
Although Bad Boys 4 wasn't bad. It wasn't. I mean, it's not like great cinema, but it was. I liked it. I had fun.
Doing well, right?
Yeah, it did well. It leans into the slap. So like Martin Lawrence slaps Will Smith like multiple times in a scene.
Oh,
it's pretty funny.
Graham Nolan is he's Comicsgate as well. He used to be a comic artist, and then I don't know the full backstory, but I think it's safe to assume he was either a jerk online or he was late on his deadlines, or a combination of a lot of them. And he got fired, and now he's a Comicsgate grifter essentially.
Pretty funny. So
yeah, I think it did remarkably well. I think it exceeded expectations.
Yeah, because they thought it was going to bomb. Yeah, they thought it was absolutely going to bomb. So
yeah,
good for them. But mostly that's
Shud content, Gabriel.
Especially with
we're not going to look at the nuance. We're just going to talk about how Doctor Who is dead. Just looking at overnight numbers on what is a streaming series now.
Acolyte and Doctor Who happening from Disney at the same time, message-wise, doing the same thing. Dude, I would love to be done talking about this shit if they would stop making it. Like, I don't make the rules.
All right, I have a kitty hiding back here.
I make the observations with, like right before the Acolyte, there was the Furiosa controversy, which isn't a controversy at all. A bunch of people got upset because they liked the movie. I liked the movie. I thought it was a good movie, but I completely understand why nobody fucking watched it. It's really obvious why nobody watched it.
Really, Gary, explain why nobody watched it. Because it's a really good movie, right? It's a really good movie. Why didn't anybody watch it?
And that happens when you have brand damage. This is the fatigue.
Brand damage to Mad Max. Explain the brand damage to Mad Max. Because we only have 5 movies in that franchise, and the franchise is really kind of like the continuity of this franchise is kind of iffy. Furiosa and Fury Road have the best continuity by far. They actually have pretty unified continuity. All the other Mad Max movies have spotty continuity. What is the brand damage though? Because the last entry, Fury Road, is the highest reviewed one. It's definitely my favorite. I think it's the best one. What is the brand damage there? What the hell are you talking about, Gary? Oh, he's definitely not talking about Doctor Who, by the way.
Everybody talks about. That's it. Not that this was going to do great anyway. I think, but if it had Mel Gibson playing Mad Max, it would have made its money back in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
Sure.
Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's career has been kind of on a free fall, dude. What are you basing that on? Mel Gibson, pretty much an open anti-Semite, all out there, like, and you're like, oh yeah, it would have made money if he was starring. Based on what? Based on what?
absolutely.
So they're not making the smart business decisions, right?
Furiosa was 100% because George Miller wanted to make that movie, by the way. And it wasn't an activist thing or anything like that. He wanted to do a Furiosa prequel movie. And George Miller, frankly, in my opinion, as a director, he's an old man. He's a very talented director. I think he should be allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants. I do not care. I think for the most part, he does good movies, and I will sit down and watch them.
They're making the message decisions.
No, Furiosa was not about making a message decision. That was literally him. He announced early on he wanted to do a Furiosa prequel movie, and we got it.
I'd love to be done talking about this, but that's true. Even though she wasn't a girl boss, I'll say it a million times, she wasn't a girl boss in it. She kind of reacts to everything and kind of observes what's going on, which really fits in that world.
Right.
It's irrelevant. It's utterly irrelevant. People are sick and tired of just the vision. You're already, your eyes are already.
What? People are sick and tired of seeing women? What the fuck argument is this, ass? What?
Rolling. Oh god, it's another fucking girl boss.
Oh.
Another scrawny little girl boss who's going to be doing this other, regardless of whether they do or not. It is fatigue. They're done with it.
So, what they're saying is that Furiosa bombed because women starred. That's it. That's all they're fucking saying. That is a ridiculous fucking take. Ridiculous.
You know, the people are just like, well, men?
You know, Furiosa, because it didn't do well, is about ready to hit streaming. And I'm betting you pretty soon we're going to get reports about how its streaming numbers are a smash hit, how it's doing really well on streaming, as all this stuff keeps on doing. Argyle did it. The Marvels did it. It's Eternals did it. It's like, it kind of bombed at the box office and it hit streaming and it's a huge hit. Because people are just used to watching stuff at home anymore. They're like, we don't have to go to a theater. It'll be out on streaming in a couple weeks. And then they just wait a couple weeks and it's out on streaming and they watch it. Pandemic has changed how people view media, especially when it comes to movie theaters.
They've got nothing at the cinema because they don't have any fucking masculinity whatsoever. They've got nothing.
Masculinity? What? Number one, there are still plenty of action heroes, so what the hell are you even talking about? White male action heroes are not in short supply. What is his argument that people only go to the theater to watch like white men be masculine? Is that his argument? Maybe that's why he goes to the cinema. I go there to see a cool looking movie. But maybe Az is just there to see white men be masculine, which it's an interesting take, Az. Listen, I'm not going to say you're closeted or anything, but it kind of seems like that. That's
thing to look at.
Yeah, Inside Out did well. Inside Out 2 did really well. What the hell?
So who are their masculine heroes? They don't exist anymore because they're cocked in TV, they're cocked in movies now, they're subservient to everyone else.
Can you get examples, please? Because I love how you guys always cite examples and are always wrong. Like Thor, Love and Thunder. Oh, he's cucked. No, he was pretty badass in that movie. What are your examples? Because all the examples of white men just getting cucked all the time are just bullshit.
Else. So why should we give them the benefit of the doubt anymore? I watched Fury Road. I liked Fury Road. I thought it was a good film. I didn't give two shits about Furiosa though. In terms of, do I need to know anything about her? No. I got what I.
No, but like any movie, it's like you don't need to know about her, but if you want, he made the backstory, and the backstory is pretty cool.
I wanted from that film. I don't need to know how she lost her arm. I don't need to know how she got a fucking cat. I don't need to know how she fucking put black on the top of her head. I don't need to know any of these things. They're absolutely irrelevant. It's a character.
You don't need to know any of it. Movies don't really need to exist. It's an art form. Fact is, if it looks cool to you, go check it out. And, frankly, Furiosa is a pretty fucking good movie. It's not as good as Fury Road, but it's pretty fucking good.
That was served in a film. Now give me Mad fucking Max, please. And I'll actually like one of his films. That'd be nice.
Well, he already has 4 movies. So here's a prequel on one of the supporting characters. If you don't want to see it, that's fine. But your take on it then is kind of worthless.
Furiosa is on the way to make or end at about 175 million, right? And losses of over 200 million. At least that's like the scary possible reality for them. Which means even if they did,
I won't mind a citation on where he's getting 200 million losses on it.
The Fury Road numbers, the studio probably wouldn't have been that happy. They would have been like, no, okay.
Okay, Mauler's actually bringing up an excellent point here. Excellent fucking point. Mad Max Fury Road was not a smash hit. It was not. It did better than Furiosa, but of course it was pre-pandemic. But was not like this huge smash hit. It did okay-ish. It did enough between that and home video for the studio to say, okay, we'll help you out with a prequel.
Which to me is just fucking bizarre. What the hell are you thinking? Why would you even think it would make more than Fury Road? It was never gonna. And to be fair, if it was Fury Road 2, I wouldn't have expected necessarily that it would get more than Fury Road. It's such a... Like, what are you guys doing? Mad Max.
Well, Mauler, in case you're wondering, this is not a studio-run franchise right now. This is George Miller making the movie he wants to make.
Max. You might want to put Max in.
If you want to get technical, Max is in it for like a moment.
But they had to subtitle it a Mad Max saga.
Well, and for the record, like, I think a Mel Gibson old Mad Max definitely would have made more money. However, I'm not sure Mad Max is a franchise that can get upwards of like the kind of numbers they clearly want.
Agreed.
And this is something they've done before. They kill franchises by plugging way too much budget into them, and then like, oh, I guess nobody cares about.
Oh my God, Mauler, like he's got some cringe points, but he's actually getting to the crux of it. These movies are too expensive. They need to figure out how to not make these movies so fucking expensive. Yeah, that's a good point.
But it's like, no, we did. We didn't care about it in the same way we care about a fucking enormous blockbuster, though.
Well, they love to take franchises, but not give the love to the franchise. For example, they'll do a TV show called Gotham with no Batman in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Well, you don't have to watch it, but that was the premise of Gotham. I saw most of the first season. It didn't thrill me. But that was the entire premise. It was just going to be a detective story about Gotham before Batman. You don't have to watch it.
Smallville, but at least that had Superman learn.
That Superman was the main character in Smallville. It was just before he was Superman. That is a very different beast.
Learning his powers in that show, so I'll give that one a slight pass. But if you're going to do a Mad Max movie, have Mad Max in it. Not all these little tertiary spin-offs that really nobody cares about. Just embrace what you got and push it out there.
Especially for the
So Furiosa exists because George Miller wanted to make Furiosa. They are making the case against the artist doing what he wants. They are making the case that they should just do the movie that makes the most money, because that's the only thing that matters. They are against art in this argument, and we haven't even talked about Doctor Who for a while.
The reason they leave it out is it's a white male. That's the reason they leave it out. And
What? I hate to point this out to you. There are plenty of white males. There's actually a shit ton of white males in Furiosa. What the fuck are you talking about, Gary? They aren't leaving out white males in that movie.
Mel Gibson, right, for him particular. But the reason to let Mad Max out of this one, and George Miller wanted to tell this story first, is because he was interested in a character that nobody was interested in. You still have to give the people what they want. As a writer, of course, you want to do your own thing.
I mean, they're condemning Furiosa. And God, we've been talking about Furiosa for a while. Like half this video has been on Furiosa. This is a Doctor Who video. But they're condemning Furiosa because it didn't make money, ignoring the fact that even Gary admits it's a good movie. Isn't that the most important thing? Isn't that the most important thing? There's plenty of movies that bomb. Both Blade Runners bomb. Big Lebowski bombs. Shawshank Redemption bombs. There's John Carpenter's The Thing bomb. Bombing doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Why are they shitting on it for that? They should be. These guys should be out there saying, "Hey, Furiosa is actually a really good movie. You guys should go out and watch it." But instead, they're like, "You shouldn't see it because nobody's seen it." What the fuck argument is this?
But you also have
Exactly. They are really they pretend like they're anti-corporations, but they're actually pro-corporate, anti-art goons. That's all this is.
to be a little aware that like I need to sell this too. So like,
Yeah,
I think there's a happy medium there, you know, especially when it's an IP.
If it was a big old boardroom and someone said, "We're making the Furiosa movie, damn it," and hits the table, you'd be like, "Okay, you're gonna make a lot less money."
Okay, so it wasn't a big old boardroom. It was George Miller, who was very open when he first made Fury Road that he wanted to do a Furiosa prequel. It was very, very big. Like he was very out there talking about it on the Fury Road circuit. Talking about, I want to do a Furiosa prequel.
As long as you know that.
Yep.
No matter how good you make it, doesn't matter.
Elam's like, yeah, these guys are clowns. Okay, I saw there's one more Doctor Who video. Let's see how much they talk about Doctor Who on that one, because that one came out fairly recently. These takes are really fucking bad. I'm not lying. Atrocious.
Say, hey, just go out there and risk your entire career for the rest of your life. But if more people came
Hey, what's Mauler doing here? What the hell?
Hey, what's Mauler doing here?
forward, it would be harder for them to single you out.
Yeah, strength in numbers.
Yep.
The power of many.
Hey, Az, do you have the Doctor Who ratings?
Yes, I do. Right here.
I love looking.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's going to be the overnight ratings again, isn't it? Give me the overnight ratings on a show that streams 19 hours before it airs live. Really. Because, you know, like that article said, the fact that even pulls those numbers on overnight, despite the fact that it's streaming 19 hours before it's available for that, is fucking impressive.
Looking at these, they make me happy.
Oh, absolutely. So there's the overnights for the latest episode, the lowest ever overnights, beating episode 3's.
And this is the penultimate episode. This was setting up the big bad, Mauler, the big bad, which is an old big bad.
I got tricked, Gary. I was enticed because people were like, oh God, they got Sutek out of Susan Technologies. I was like, that's awful. And then I watched the episode, and the worst one isn't even that.
What's that?
You know how?
Yep, these are again just the overnight live numbers on a show that's streaming. This is such gaslighting these guys are doing. It's ridiculous.
Funny it got. I feel like I should give context first.
Please do.
There's a scene where they're all in the, you know, the big technology fucking room, whatever, and one of the characters starts babbling on about ancient demons and stuff, and they're like, wait, what the hell? Oh God, she's possessed. And then they're like, Harriet, what's wrong? And the doctor, because he's on communications, he's like, Harriet, what's her full name? Which is such a weird thing to ask.
Yeah, it's almost like he has experience dealing with this. You know? Isn't that weird?
Smith.
Like, check it. It's Harriet Arbinger. And then they pull it up on the screen, and then it like glitches and goes, and it goes, wait a second, H Arbinger.
Number one, that's what we saw earlier. We saw Harry Arbinger being one of the precursors to the Maestro, who are the children of the toy maker, who are essentially gods. Now, if you're going to critique Doctor Who because it does silly stuff with like the glitching of the screen and stuff like that, Doctor Who does that. Doctor Who is filled with cheese. Doctor Who is much more about telling the story than like being like, technically accurate or anything like that. I feel like that's part of why the Chuds, it's easy for Chuds to go after this because it's a cheesy show by its very fucking nature. Exactly, Gabriel. It was established in Devil's Court. Harry Arbinger introduced the maestro.
Harbinger.
Oh, dear.
And obviously, I was making fun of it too. Loads of people were, but I did see a fan of the show being like, "Well, Kate has no reason to look at everyone's names and figure out what's like she."
More likely, she's not looking for people named Arbinger because she's less familiar with the children of the toy maker. The Doctor is familiar with children of the toy maker, and he would not have an opportunity to look over all the names.
Couldn't have known or something. I was like, I don't even know what to say to you. Like, if you're that bought in that you're enjoying the fact that they said, wait a minute, Harriet Arbinger.
That's true. It's objectively bad if Mauler makes fun of it. I mean, what's Mauler even doing here? This is like a political podcast. What's he doing here? What the hell? Well, that's the thing. Like Dean, can you imagine if we got a Doctor that was gritty? Number one, a Doctor that was gritty would not work. But even this episode, it was more serious. It was a dark Doctor Who episode, which I love dark Doctor Who episodes. But there's a cheese to all Doctor Who. He goes through space and time in a police box that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. This is fucking cheese, okay? And, and I think that's part of why Chuds can really target, because they can go after all the cheesy aspects of it. And it's like, oh my God, that's just what Doctor Who is, for fuck's sake.
You might just be a harbinger.
She totally missed an IT, like this guy named Dav Rose and the Master.
Well, you could just
Dave Rose
and Dalek.
Gary.
Well, the difference being that they have experience with those. They do. And perhaps the person would have just been named Harriet Arbinger. That's a possibility too. For fuck's sake.
The one you fucking attached to my tweet, hello, my name is Al Apocalypse.
Al Apocalypse. 2.02 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to
which is just the overnight live broadcast rating. That's all that is. Just throwing that out there. They're not even looking at the oh, get away from my comic books, bro. They're not even looking at the people who watched it later that night. They're not looking at the TiVo people who watched it later that night. They're not looking at the people who watched it over 48 hours. They're just looking at overnights. And they're saying, what a bomb. The show was available streaming 19 hours before then, but the bomb.
point out, please double
These guys are just cherry picking, gaslighting motherfuckers. I don't know what else to say.
check me, because we're now a month into it. That it should have charted on the Nielsen's at some point, right?
Oh, it hasn't.
And Disney has been silent on what their numbers are because they're abysmally low.
Wasn't there a Russell T quote about how they're not getting the numbers they want?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah, but followed up by, we're not getting the numbers we want because we always...
Because that was on the live numbers. He was responding to the live numbers. But they're streaming it.
want better, but we've surpassed all the targets that we set ourselves or something.
Whatever.
So it's a complete double talk.
What was your target?
Well, here's the deal. The fact these guys are even making a video on it tells you it must be doing all right on numbers.
The fucking floor? Something above that.
Well, they found the basement, dude.
Man, I almost want to say, chat, give me your vote. Will X-Ray Girl say something this video? Will she say something? Say in chat. X-Ray Girl, silent, or will she say something? Will she contribute?
Yeah.
And it's just how do you kill something that's already dead? Disney found a way.
Oh.
Disney resuscitated it and shot it in the head.
Yeah.
And again, they're condemning it based on the overnight ratings. I guess Mauler is the one that gave the most judgment of the episode, saying he didn't like the H Arbinger thing, which okay.
The hobby, quick, get the axe.
Right? But the big difference is, other than like some Doctor Who channels, like nobody cares. I heard the rumor.
Are you a Doctor Who channel? Because you're talking about it right now, fucking Gary. What?
I don't know if it's true. So because
yeah, no, apparently X-Ray Girl is there to run the tech, which, you know, like, even if she's just like the StreamYard manager, she doesn't have to be in the fucking window then. Like, you can run StreamYard from like if I wanted to run the initiative streams, I could do it like in the background and just post other people and shit. I don't have to be on screen. There's no reason for me to be on screen to do that. It makes no sense.
they're filming season 15 right now.
Yeah.
But they said it wasn't picked up. I mean, why would it has to be picked up?
Today we said it has to be.
Yeah, they're already filming it. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
They have to have got a 2-season deal.
Yeah, you
won't
don't
be filming it otherwise.
You don't film a season that hasn't been picked up. Okay, so just
of course you don't film a season that has been picked up. What the fuck are you talking about, Gary?
Shooty did say a few months ago, a couple of months back, he did say after the season we're filmed, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, Disney.
Wow, a few months ago, and now they're filming the next season. It's almost like things changed in a few months. What the fuck story is this? Holy shit.
Disney is paying is funding this basically. So it got commissioned for 2 seasons, still part of the BBC, but Disney's funding a lot of this, and they actually have a lot of say.
No, they don't have a lot of say. They give them money so they can exclusively stream it in North America. So they give them some money. It's still a BBC show, pretty much.
Hey, obviously, because it comes out in America, like and hey, do you really enjoy sitting around the TV?
True. For the guys watching, X-Ray Girl is on screen so they can spend some time for woman. That's thoughtful, Gary. Being like, X-Ray Girl, go on screen so they can look at a woman.
Set and at midnight with the family to watch watch Nurse What.
Remember, Gary, this is also season 1 and season.
Bob, the old ways, they won't be allowed to film a season that hadn't been renewed? What? You quit throwing facts around. These guys, I've already shown these guys are obviously can't handle facts. Okay, so don't be confronting them with that shit. That's just rude. Okay.
Season 2. So what if it gets cancelled after 2 seasons?
That would be funny. It all be.
I genuinely don't think it will be. Like the streaming numbers. What we know of the streaming numbers, it's doing fine. The fact these guys are covering it's doing fine. Hell, Velma, a series that pretty much everyone fucking hated, got carried to a season 2 because fucking Chudge wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
You know, what if it gets canceled before the 2nd season and they just rip it off the fucking platform like they?
So they're filming a season and you're saying, what if it gets canceled? You know, that's not impossible, but what the fuck? Why would they film it and then cancel it? What the fuck, Gary? No.
Did Willow. I would probably die laughing. That would be the end for me.
If we could be honest for a second, if they actually said we're stopping Doctor Who outright indefinitely, we'll give you more information when the time comes, I feel like all of us would be like, okay, good.
Yeah, this is needed.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, because there's definitely the message in these, and it gets worse at like the first.
The message. What is the message, and why are you against it, Gary? Please give me those answers. So you won't because you like to use your coded language, your dog whistles. But yeah. Please tell me exactly what the message is and why you're against it. Because as far as I can tell, it's just like women and minorities doing stuff. That's it.
First 3 episodes are nothing compared to what, like, I think a lot of people were. I was out after the Moffat stuff, and then it wasn't 73. It was what's the name of the episode afterwards, where none of the white people wanted to go.
That's the only one I have.
Oh, he's on Dot and Bubble again. Holy shit.
Seen, and apparently it's like the worst one.
Oh, the bubble one.
Yeah, the bubble one.
I loved that episode. I thought that was great.
We don't go with you because you're black.
Because you're black. That was like, Holy shit.
They were, I mean, yes. Okay, now I've had time to assess it. I could see definitely a racism thing going on. But the fact is, they were racist because they were rich pricks. They were rich pricks. That was it.
Yeah.
So when Doctor Who was good, do you remember that, guys? Mauler? Do you remember when
I
Doctor Who was
remember.
good?
Yes.
A long time ago. Long time ago.
Good for me.
Well, it depends what you're talking about. Are you talking about the 2005 season where he kissed Captain Jack? When was Doctor Who good? You just gonna throw that nebulous term out there, guys? Give me your year. When was Doctor Who good? Because you're obviously hate watching it now, and guess what? You're allowed to dislike Doctor Who. You're allowed to. I think it's quite good right now. I kind of want to go back and watch some Jodie Whittaker stuff because I've seen most of Peter Capaldi. I think of the new Who bunch, my favorite is probably still the Matt Smith run, even though I think David Tennant is my favorite Doctor. But please, like, when was each one of these guys? Give me a year. Wait, was X-Ray Girl saying something? Holy shit, I think X-Ray Girl was saying something.
Do you remember when
I
Doctor Who was
remember.
good?
Yes.
A long time ago. Long time ago.
Good for me.
So even in the
Oh my God, it's been a while for me. She said a little something. Jesus Christ, she said something. She said something. Whoever said said something, you win a bona fide no prize. No.
Paul
Yeah, I was interrupting her. That was very rude of me.
era, which was, I mean, rightly so criticized for some of the writing. What would happen is get good ratings in the beginning. As the season went on, kind of what fell down. And this is normal for most shows.
Yeah, it's normal for like every show. What the hell?
With like, let me put the asterisk here, interest, where people are still interested. So first couple episodes get the best ratings, then it kind of tapers out, and then they pop at the end. That tells you if there's still interest in the show. And with Capaldi's era, they all popped at the end. The Jodie era did not. It progressively got worse. Progressive. And like the penultimate episode would be like, oh, people are getting interested again. No, it'd get worse. And then the worst ratings would be the finale.
Flux. Oh my goodness me.
By the way, just want to point out, they have not put the universe back together yet.
No.
After the flux.
Didn't he say in one of the episodes? Oh yeah, the universe is fucking broken.
Okay.
Well,
But as far as I was aware, the flux had
Okay, cool. I haven't seen Jodie Whittaker. I can't really judge it. Like I said, you're allowed to dislike Doctor Who, but they're judging it entirely on the ratings and saying it's bad because the ratings, as if that's some sort of objective measurement of quality. And there's plenty of things that do poorly financially that are good, that are very, very good. And plus, their ratings are even cherry picked to fucking begin with. They're judging it entirely based on the overnight live ratings in the UK exclusively. That's all they're judging.
made it all the way to just about Earth, so there should be no universe. Never mind. Oh, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. It's all fucking dog shit.
Remember when Time Itself came to Jodie and as Jodie and said, we're going to save you because you got some other stuff to do, and then they forgot about it. I wish they would have forgotten about the Timeless Children.
No, nobody cared. That was the thing.
But yeah, connecting the last episode to Pyramids of Mars infuriates me. Like, they got an emotion out of me, and it was fucking anger. It was anger.
Isn't that what they want to do?
Yes.
I mean,
How dare you?
what they're doing with Doctor Who is what Disney been doing with Star Wars now forever, right?
Okay, cool. I don't remember Pyramids of Mars. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't remember what the connection is.
Grabbing up every last character and sucking it dry.
Yes.
The idea that Doctor Who's got a huge history and you can just keep on grabbing further down the line all the famous bad guys or famous good guys even as well. Because, I mean, a lot of the sort of supporting characters in that episode are classic characters, right, Gary?
Yes. In this episode, yes.
But they all have roles.
Are they? So, like, this, I'm trying to think, the supporting characters. So, like, you got Mel. Yeah, Melanie is definitely an old school companion from the 6th and 7th Doctor, I want to say. Kate Lethbridge-Stewart isn't really a classic character, but she's the daughter of Colonel Lethbridge-Stewart, who is a classic character. I guess Ruby is a returning character. Not Ruby. Rose. Rose is a returning character, but won't really call her a classic character. She just popped up in the specials. And then, I mean, you get Susan, and it's kind of implied she might be the Doctor's granddaughter, who is one of the first companions of the first Doctor. But the impression I get is that it is not her. It is actually this god thing or whatever. So yeah, it's not a ton.
Of just, I'm here and I.
Oh, Sutek was the villain in Periods of Mars. Wow, I need to watch that. I need to rewatch that. Haven't seen that in forever. Jesus. Fourth Doctor is awesome too.
I'm
Say,
here.
hello, Doctor. I know you.
That's it. And it's just there for key jangling. That's all it is. So why haven't we gotten why did we get the other consolidated for the last episode, but not the plus 7, the real one?
For some reason, they are a day behind.
What?
Okay, so you might be shocked to hear this, but they can pull up the live ratings fairly quickly. The other ratings as to people who watch it overnight on their TiVos might take a bit longer. And then the next set of ratings as to people who watch it over the week on their TiVo will take longer because it takes at least a week for them to find out they're watching it over the week. Isn't that weird?
And notice how last week did, or a couple of weeks ago, 2.12, 3.38, 2.11, 3.52. Now remember, this is repeat watches. So with this being an extra day late, it's like, it kind of feels like the BBC are trying desperately to prevent this from becoming the lowest. Because what they normally do is when they're a day late, they add the day to the ratings.
No, they're fudging the numbers.
Yeah.
You got evidence of that, Az? You got evidence of that, dude? You're just saying shit right now. That's all I'm getting.
Yes. So they don't want that to go below 3.10 because then it becomes the lowest ever rated.
Oh. Sure. I mean, their 7 days already higher, so who cares?
Doctor Who episode outright.
Because it wouldn't be, because their 7 days are already higher. Why would they fear that? It's already higher. Oh my god. Okay. Chud takes on Doctor Who are quite bad. I actually think the new season of Doctor Who started rough, but I think overall it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. I think Ncuti Gat was doing a fantastic job. I think it's also a good entry point. Like if you were like me and took a break from Doctor Who, it's a good point to come back. Good point to come back. They're doing kind of a soft reboot. Worth checking out.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.